Hello again. I'm Tugay. I'm political researcher, PhD researcher. I'm gonna talk about the Canada wildfires and its results. Canada, Canada wildfires. U.S. East Coast sees worst air quality in years. Washington, D.C. and Philadelphia experienced their worst air quality in years, as intense wildfires in Canada continue to impact millions. The poor conditions have forced even cancellations and grounded flights across the U.S. Nearly 100 million people are experiencing very poor air quality in North America. U.S. President Joe Biden described the fires as a stark reminder of the impacts of climate change. Data from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Air Quality Index (AQI) shows that cities in North America had the worst air quality in the world on Thursday morning. Cities including Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, and New York had significantly worse air quality than cities abroad such as Lahore, Dhaka, and Hanoi. The smoke has caused the cancellation of school outings and sporting events, and in the capital, the White House planned Pride celebrations. The National Zoo was also closed with its animals, including three giant pandas taken indoors to shelter. In nearby
But
Baltimore,
speaking to
residents
reporters in
were
Moscow,
wearing masks
Kremlin
as they
press
went about
secretary
their
Dmitry Peskov
day-to-day
said the
activities.
blast can
One
only have a
local
negative
scene
impact on talks
Montague
to
said
renew
people
the
have to
deal.
put
You
your
know
health
that
first
this topic figured
and
as
be
an
cautious.
integral part of the
At the
half
city's
of the
inner
deal that
harbor, Prince
concerned
Sharif
us.
and
So this
Sheila
is yet another complication in terms of the extending the
from a
deal.
water taxi,
We don't
eager
know
to hurry
what kind
indoors.
of
They
destruction there
said
is. We
they
don't
originally
know
planned to
what the
spend the day
Ukrainian
in
side is
Baltimore's
going to do
Fells
next,
Point, a
Mr. Peskov
weatherside
added.
neighborhood known for its galleries, shops, and outdoor seafood restaurants. But once on the water, their eyes stung and the smoke was so thick cheek, so they agreed the ride was miserable and decided to return home. Much of the smoke is coming from Quebec, where 150 fires are burning. It's already Quebec's worst fire seasons on record. Some areas of Canada continue to experience very high levels of the contamination on Thursday. The city of January in Alberta, for example, had an AQI of the 338, far above Washington D.C. DC's 293. Mr. Biden said he spoke to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau on Thursday and deployed more than 600 fighters to help battle the blazes in Canada. On a typical Thursday, Washington D.C. Union Market would usually be packed with customers dining all fresh in the afternoon soon. But with smoke check in the air, dozens of tables and chairs sat empty. A nearby rooftop bar was completely deserted except for a small group of the Canadian tourists who jokingly apologized for the disruption. One customer, Tori, sat back in a lone Adirondack chair with a mask tied around her wrist, having just traveled from West Virginia. As I was driving, I noticed that it was more hazy and I just feel a little bit different too. I had a headache, she said. It's very scary. If you think about it, Environment Canada said conditions were worsening in Toronto on Thursday. As more smoke poured in, the agency has recommended that anyone outdoors wear a mask. These fine particles generals pose the greatest risk to health. However, respirators do not reduce exposure to the gases in wildfire smoke. the Environment Canada statement said. Smoke from Canadian wildfires is blowing across U.S. Level of the smoke in the atmosphere micrograms per cubic meter. Toronto, New York. Data from NOAA and Wednesday, 7 June 2023. In New York, an orange haze blanketed the city's skyline and shrouded landmarks including the Statue of Liberty. Public health officials have cautioned people do not exercise outside and to minimize their exposure to the smoke as much as possible, as the air poses immediate and long-term health risks. Canadian officials say the country is shaping up for its worst wildfire season on record. Experts have pointed to a warmer and drier spring than normal as the reason behind the trend. These conditions are projected to continue throughout the summer. Fire across Canada have already burned an area that's 20 times 10-year average for this time of year. Climate change increases the risk of the hot, dry weather that is likely to fuel wildfires. The world has already warmed about 1.2 Celsius since the industrial era began, and temperature will keep rising unless governments around the world make steps cuts to emissions. Experts say exposure to wildfire smoke can cause a litany of the health issues, such as an elevated pulse, chest pain, and inflammation in the eyes, nose, and throat.